So Starlink is not the only option for SA. This is according to ANC NEC member Zwandile Masina. In this video, I'm going to show you what he's pushing in this article, which then takes us to a quick look at our economy. But you're going to hear a top podcaster smashing, exposing the mentality that's driving the ANC. And if you stay till the end for my biblical reaction, you'll see the answer to this, because listen, South Africa will prosper. And if you're ready for that, press like, let's go. So Zwandile Masina, the chairperson of the Parliament's Portfolio Committee against Trade, Industry and Competition, he's rejected what he has described as an unfounded argument that Starlink is the only option for South Africa. He's also an NEC member who wrote in the NEC newsletter that the narrative was not supported by evidence. So he showed a report that was published in April, which showed several countries were investing in the development of their own counter space capabilities. So of course his words come after Soli Malatsi's little trick we talked about here. The report assesses the counter space capabilities of 12 countries, including the US, Russia, China, India, Australia, as well as North Korea and South Korea, based on publicly available information. And then he goes to say the most significant of the developments are emerging from, you guessed it, China. So he said China had developed several initiatives to create satellite internet constellations that compete with Starlink, including Guowang and Quanfan. These initiatives aim to provide global internet coverage, with some specifically targeting countries and regions where Starlink is not doing so well. And they include Guowang and Xinjiang or SatNet. This project focuses on domestic telecommunications and national security. It's launched plenty satellites. Another one is Kainfang. So he added that the project, also known as SpaceSail or Shanghai Spacecom Satellites Technology, was more focused on providing services to foreign telecom companies. It has launched satellites and is in talks with over 30 countries and a whole bunch of satellites in Brazil, Malaysia, Thailand, and other countries in Asia, he wrote. So we hear you, Masina. Masina saying we don't go with the West, we go with China. Personally, I don't care who we go with. My concern is, can we get going? Because China has been going for quite a long time. This gentleman right here is Deng Xiaoping, who took over China round about the late 70s. China, philosophically, was exactly where the ANC is right now. But Deng Xiaoping came with something which he called Gai Ga Kai Fang, which means open up and reform. He did a couple of things. First of all, he put the land rights back into individual hands and pulled the government back from that. Then pulled the government back from controlling how the farmers sell and gave them more freedom. And guess what? In a short time, they were making more money. Then what he did is he built little Singapores, in a way, inside of China, like Shenzhen and cities like that. Little cities where the state was 100% business friendly, so that he doesn't change all the laws. But in those little cities, they were an entrepreneur's heaven. Right. Then what he said, as he was doing all these reforms, which were free market reforms, but he didn't call it that. He called it socialism with Chinese characteristics. But doesn't matter what you call it. When I look at it, I know if it sounds like a duck, quacks like a duck, whatever people say. So what he did is he said, some must get rich first, which obviously neutralized the Marxist fascination with equality by pretty much saying, let's not be so stuck on equality that we sabotage growth. So then he said, I don't care if the cat is black or white as long as it catches mice, which neutralized the Marxist fascination with this is the oppressor, we hate them even at our own peril, and this is the oppressed whom we robbed for ourselves. So, what then happened? Well, China since 1978 has been growing at an average of 9% per annum. This is a 40-year graph. This is what Chinese growth looks like. And in the process, 800 million Chinese pulled themselves out of poverty in that time. So I don't care if we go with America or China. I just wish we'd have some going. South Africa, on the other hand, has grown at about 3% between 1994 and 2024. Right now, we're at like 0.6% and we've been stagnant for a long time. Now, this is what South Africa's economic growth looks like. It took us 30 years to less than double our economy. Pitiful. You want to see what that really looks like? Compare us to Angola, almost 2,000%, Zambia, Mozambique, Botswana, almost 400%, Zimbabwe, 300%, Namibia, 297%. In comparison to our neighbors, we are last, 175%. Oh, we love BRICS. Well, how about we start not just loving them as groupies, but as peers? China, close to 3,000% growth. India, 1,000% growth. Russia, 400% growth. Brazil, 338% growth. South Africa, since 1994, 175% growth. Don't look at it on the graph. The green is South Africa. That orange is India. The red is China. Why? Because our comrades in 2024 think like the communists in China in 1974. Something's got to change. What is really the problem? Well, how about I allow South Africans, Deborah, top podcaster, citizen concerned, to show you where the problem is. Listen.
But because I believe in miracles and in the power of prayer, I have hope that we can avoid that evil from reaching its full form. I know that evil and racist South Africans come in all races, but I will focus mainly on the race that has been in power under democratic South Africa. Black leaders have cultivated among our people a mindset similar to an angry, vengeful person sharpening a knife while looking at the descendants of enemies from a generation ago. Some white people have done the same, but like I said, this video focuses on those who have been in charge under the democratic South Africa. One might be tempted to think that this was the mindset of the ANC throughout its existence, but that is not the case. When you see the majority of the leaders within the ANC today, you might think that the ANC has always had foolish people in charge of the organization. When you listen to the words of people like the Panyazas and the Ramaphosas, or even the likes of the Zumas and the Malemas, who actually were produced by the ANC, you might think that the ANC has always been like that, but you are wrong, obviously. This is Albert Luthuli, and I would like you to listen to the words he wrote in an article published in Drum magazine in December 1961, titled "If I Were Prime Minister." It reads, "My government, mainly through education, direct and indirectly, would discourage the attitude of thinking and acting in racial categories. Racialism and all forms of discrimination would be outlawed. The question of reserving rights for minorities in a non-racial democracy should not arise. I do not like such expressions as the all-black government, the African majority. I like to speak about a democratic majority, which should be a non-racial majority, and so could be multiracial or not. My idea is a non-racial government consisting of the best men, merit rather than color counting. The political parties in the country should also reflect the multiracial nature of the country. Parties basically should arise from a community of interests rather than from a similarity of color. Appeals to racialism at elections would be an offense in law. Education is a paramount unifying factor in building national consciousness and pride, a healthy community spirit. In my non-racial democratic South Africa, there can be no question of a different system of education for different racial groups. It would only be in the lower classes, saying up to 4th grade of school, and never beyond the 8th grade of school, where mother tongue instruction would predominate. Multiracial schools will be demanded by the need to develop common patriotism and national solidarity. Those are the words of the man known as Albert Luthuli, the one that the ANC named Luthuli House after. Can you believe it?
It's almost unbelievable. So let me give you my biblical reaction. Our economy is suffering from one thing, that the comrades have perverted justice. See, what Albert Luthuli talks about there is justice, not the perverted justice that's going on right now. Don't pervert justice. Do not show favoritism to either the poor or the great. Judge on the basis of what is right. See, the ANC has lost track of what is right and wrong. They only now know what is black or white. They only know what is apartheid or not. They only know who is the oppressed and the oppressor, and now they need to rise in revolution so they can reset this oppressor-oppressed dichotomy. Don't show favoritism to either the poor or the great, not only because it's right, but because it works. If we didn't have the laws that attempt to pervert justice, where the current injustice is called justice, and showing favoritism to who the comrades believe is naturally good, all blacks are naturally perfect and good and holy, and all whites are naturally horrible and evil and to be punished. While we are on that, guess what? People get poor, people are unemployed, people are hungry. That's a quarter of this country deals with actual hunger. So I say, no man can serve two masters, because either he'll love the one or hate the other, or he'll disrespect the one and honor the other. You cannot serve God and Karl Marx. But I also believe in miracles, and I say to you, South Africa will prosper. So let's make history together.